Hi, Sandy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. And today we're doing a breakdown, pull apart, dissect of a song called Inside Out. And this is from a band called Quarter After Three, who part of them it's a free piece that were part of the band called Motion Device, which we've covered before on the channel. Really interesting band because it's a case of its drums, keyboards, vocals, which you'd almost kind of go, well, where's the rest of your band? Because that's not a band. But they somehow managed to make it work because I think it's Andrea is the keyboardist, but she plays a bass line on a synth bass with a lead piano part. It's a really interesting mix. And I know when we've reviewed them before, we've kind of said this would be really cool if there was a guitar in this. We've said that, and I was expecting to say that about this, but I'll let you know a little bit more about my thoughts as we go through it. But the way we do this, we break the song into 1 minute chunks. We've watched this video already. We've gone away and broken it down. We're going to play you a minute at a time and talk about each of those minutes as we come to it. Okay. So let's give you the first minute of the song for you at home. Okay, interesting start, I guess. So I'm going to read my notes here because I did this the other week, and I'm just trying to. It's going to see if it jogs my memory of what I wrote here. So electronica, crisp drums. So I liked the really crisp sound they do in their production, and this is again all done in house. It's not like they've got their own studio they built and they do this all themselves. They've got this great synth bass. Now, the person who recommended this to me said that it was the keyboardist that was doing vocals, but I don't think it is. I'm sure it's Sarah. It sounds like the vocalist that we've had before. It doesn't sound like it's, unless she sounds the same. But I love the bluesy vocal delivery. It's almost like she's just riffing rather than, like sometimes with vocalists where they just kind of do an open mic and they just kind of go for it. That's kind of what it felt like a little bit there. The vocal delivery is almost very much like a prog band delivery. Classical piano in that first minute. It reminded me of almost like Flight of the Bumblebee.
Yeah, I know.
That classic piece. And then the chorus, because we almost get to like this, what I would class as the chorus, I guess. Reminded me almost like a Lady Gaga vocal delivery, like a pop. It was a really interesting vibe to it. But Andy, did this float your boat, or did you suddenly go, "What the hell am I listening to here?"
I quite enjoyed it. I do. It's a sort of memorable band name, and I remember covering them on the channel before, and yes, we had the conversation about this would be really good, but does it need a guitar? Did all your summary there come in the first minute? Because I haven't got much for the first minute, other than it would just seem to me like a sort of electro pop Euro style sort of intro.
Yeah, it was in the first minute.
Purely just a keyboard, and I've got the vocals sort of coming in a little bit later. Did that all happen in the first minute, do you think?
Yeah. I wrote something else for the next minute.
Okay, well, yeah, I really like the initial vocals as well. I did think, a minute or two in, that there's not a lot going on screen. I thought, is this going to be your pet hate of a visualizer style?
I think it is a visualizer thing that they did because they didn't have a music video for it. So
okay, well, it does develop throughout, but I thought it was literally going to be one image throughout. But I think the video builds and actually becomes really interesting throughout the song. But that's sort of really all I've got for the first minute or so.
Okay, Kirk.
Yeah, I think it is Sarah Menadakis on vocals. So this is from the upcoming debut album, Trained Thinker. I wouldn't call it electro pop. To me, this is like hard-edged, almost synthwave type music, like Perturbator or that band Ghost. If you were playing that on guitar, that'd be quite heavy. And that's proof that you don't need guitars to be heavy. And where the hell did that fast piano fill come from at 48 seconds? Dave, you said Flight of the Bumblebee. That just comes from nowhere, doesn't it? It's a great intro. I like an extended intro with that. It's like they've taken, the originator of that synth sound is that Donna Sumner song, isn't it? I Feel Loved. And so many bands have taken that and just made it harder and more intense. And to the fact that it's become a cliche almost. But here, I think it's a great intro, and it's definitely showing a different dimension to the band from what I've heard in their predecessor band and also some of the songs that they put out today.
Okay, well, let's play you the next minute of the song. This is minutes 1 to minute 2 for you at home. Okay, the only thing that really I was just vibing at this point, so I'm kind of just like, after that first minute, I'm like, okay, where else is this going to go? What else is going to happen? And then I just got this throughout this whole minute section. I was just kind of like, what vibe am I getting? And this reminded me, like, it felt sinister. Considering there's no heavy guitars or anything, this just feels sinister. It feels twisted. Like, I feel like I'm in some really twisted, weird horror game that's being played, and this is like like one of those ones where you're waiting for the jump scare to come out, and that's kind of thing going on there. It was almost like Pink Floyd in 2024 being smashed up with the Birthday Massacre. It's just a really odd, trippy combination, but with goth elements underneath. It's one of those bands where we cover occasionally on the channel, and you're like, I don't know who I could even give this a comparison to. When we've done Primus, and there was a band we did the other week, and when we talked about System of a Down, and you're like trying to go, well, who do you put this person in with? So who would you take Quarter After Three and go, well, this goes with this band, these go together? And I'm like, I don't know where I'd place this, and I like that. I like the fact that I'm confused by it all. Andy.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. There is that sort of menacing sort of sound, sort of vocally, and with the keyboards that are coming in. But I think that's sort of enhanced by the visuals. I mean, it is a visualizer, but it's sort of kind of like a static TV. But there are, as I said, the visuals are developing as the song progresses, and images start to appear at this point. But yeah, they're certainly creating an almost, well, your word, sinister vibe without a huge amount of instrumentation, which is really, really clever of the band.
Kirk?
Yeah, you can make comparisons. The band Carpenter Brute, the synthwave artists, are probably the nearest thing to what they're doing. And the chorus, though, is like a grungy doom song without guitars, isn't it? And it's instantly memorable. There's a post-chorus verse that stands out for two things. One, the lyrics, therapy is what I need. I'm not resisting, but I might not agree. And B, the new layer of synth that comes in under the main riff. Depeche Mode are kings of this. Go to a song called Fly on the Windscreen from their 1986 album Black Celebration, if you like what you're hearing here, because they are the absolute gods of doing that, of bringing in a second layer of more high register type digital synth. So yeah, really, really enjoy what I'm hearing 2 minutes into this song.
Okay, so I'm going to put you the next 2 minutes on this. This is minutes 2 to minute 4 for you at home.
Place
Okay. So for that next, for the first minute that we've talked about here, so minutes like 2 to 3, I felt like it was. I remember because I'd just gone through this Sinister Five, and then I was just feeling like I almost started rocking in my chair like I'm doing now. As I was listening to it, I'm like, I'm getting mesmerized by this track. It's like you're on a carousel ride and you can't get off the bloody thing. It's like you don't know where it's going. It's taking you on this crazy journey. And I didn't want, sometimes you get to a song and you'll be like, I need to stop this to make some notes and stuff. I just didn't think I could. I was like, I need to listen to this in its entirety to get the vibe, to get the feel of what they're trying to put across it. Because when I saw it was an 8-minute song, I'm like, oh fucking hell, really? What's this going to be? I'm like, you're doing an 8-minute song with a singer, a keyboard player, and a drummer. How's that going to work? How's that going to keep my interest for 8 minutes? And I'm sitting there at the minute 2 to 3 mark going, I have no idea what's happening here, but I'm enjoying it, but I'm really interested where it's going to go. And you almost get like in that next minute, you get this prog synth jam. And it's got a really interesting tempo map because you get some really interesting time signature changes at this point. And it reminds me of a group called Transatlantic, which was kind of this prog group that had Mike Portnoy in it and some of these other guys as well when he wasn't doing Dream Theater. And it's very much like this vibe, the way that the tempo structure works in it. So yeah, really interesting at that point. Andy.
Yeah, for this sort of section, I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing on the screen. The sort of images sort of revert back to just the static TV, and then some faces start to come through, and then some male figures, and it's really clever. I wasn't disappointed that it was essentially a visualize. I was really enjoying what I was seeing. Sort of at 3:20, I've noted down that the sort of tempo sort of picks up on the song overall. You might have compared it to, or you might mention sort of different time signatures.
Yeah, it's time signature change.
Yeah, but there's sort of different keyboard sounds are introduced, and there's like a really nice piano melody played over the top of that, and then sort of towards sort of the 4-minute mark, there seems to be a bassier sound coming through, which, as you mentioned earlier, is played on a different keyboard, creating that sound and sort of filling in what would normally be a sort of electric bass in a sort of standard band or a regular sort of band. But yeah, I mean, as you said, what am I going to make of this? I really did enjoy it. It's very, very different, but visually and musically, it's a very interesting track, and it just sort of builds towards, the conclusion of 8 minutes, which I'll say now, at the end of it, it didn't seem like an 8-minute song. You said yourself you wanted to carry on. You didn't want to stop it and make notes. You was enjoying it as it was flowing through, and it was really, really, really creative and really enjoyable song.
Kirk?
Yeah, they're essentially taking metal riffs and playing them on a synthesizer. And that transition point on modulation you described, Andy, yeah, that stood out for me. The change of tempo after the second chorus. Even the riff after that brief piano solo, if that was played on guitar, that could be from Metallica's Black Album. And then you're right, it goes in a proggy direction. Might we even call this progressive synth metal, new genre? And there's a reset, isn't there, at 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That shows a good understanding of dynamics. They don't want to just keep this constant tempo. And that it's really playing with you there as well, isn't it? And it adds tension. And it allows Sarah Menadakis to show the depth of her vocal register. So again, probably the strongest part of the song list.
Okay, well, let's play for you the next 2 minutes of the song. This is minute 4 to minute 6 for you at home. Okay, for this section, this is where we had this new riff came in, and the song kind of just starts to switch in direction. It's almost like it's a different track at this point. So it's like they're taking two ideas of a track, but the transition does work. Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the old Commodore 64 tape loading games. And used to have the soundtracks that used to go on in the background of those that were all done like MIDI style soundtracks. This section reminded me of that. I'm like, this could have easily been a soundtrack to one of those games, just done really, really well in the production side of it. So I really liked that. And also with Sarah's vocals during this section she was really, really emotional. So her emotional levels are ramped up in this section, but also she's picked some really interesting melodies. They're not the obvious route to go. So you would think that there's certain ways that you can think about what's going on with the piano piece that you would naturally go. And she decides to just change those melodies and go in and try, and she highlights different words. So that's where she goes higher on certain ones that you don't expect her to. So I thought this was really interesting from a vocal performance from her. But Andy.
Yeah, I mean, I've got, I guess we're talking about the same point of the song where it transitions and it seems like two separate tracks. I think you used the word reset. And on the screen, it's gone from the sort of the haunting images of static TVs and sort of shadowy figures to like a clear view of a beach house. Very, very, what they say, two different ideas put together, but they work really well. At this point, I'm really enjoying like the sort of, I've got exactly the same word as you, emotional vocals and keyboard, merging together to create this very unusual song, but it does work. I think you're both absolutely right where you're saying that if the keyboards were played on a traditional sort of band format with the guitars and bass, it'd be Doom, it'd be Metallica. They've got all these elements, but they've just created something very different with just the sort of limited instrumentation that they've got.
Yeah, for me, they go for like an ethereal shoegaze texture here, trying to play that on synth, and it's successful. And that really begins. Yeah, I mean, actually, that begins towards the end of 6 minutes, possibly even beyond that. My criticism, I don't know if it needed to be 8 minutes in the end. This song, it's kind of like done a part two, a bit like 9 Inch Nails when you listen to Closer. Once you get past that second chorus, it's just layer upon layer of synth. Now that works. I thought that they'd be bringing in more counter melodies here or adding more and more layers, which they don't really do. And I've got to say, I don't really have much more to comment on this song, even, from 4 minutes to 8 minutes. I like it, but it could have been shortened to 6 minutes, this song for me.
Well, let's put the last 2 minutes up on the screen for those at home. Okay, so yeah, minute 6 is where we're getting these additional layers. So this is what you're talking about, those synth layers. We're getting some layering of synths, which are going really good. It's building tension. Do you know what it reminded me of? Steve Wilson.
Yeah, from Pokemon Tree.
So Steve Wilson is a phenomenal, and he knows how to use synths and piano pieces to put layers of tensions and vocal harmonies. And I love some of the stuff that he does. And this, I was getting that same vibe. But when by the time I got to minute 7, I'm like, okay, you could have finished now, because we just had more of the same in that last minute. And I found that last minute was a little bit superfluous. I was like, you're not going anywhere with it. Your layers are already there. You're just repeating what you've already done. So I've got 2 minutes of the same thing. And it's not even like you've put an outro on it. So I think personally, I agree with there that once you've built that last layer, let it go out, and then you could have saved yourself a minute on there. And I wouldn't have had a single thing to say you need to change. But I do think that synth layering at the end and that tension building for 2 whole minutes or more feels a little excessive. But I do really like the track. Andy?
I think it works and doesn't overstay its welcome. That sort of last section,
okay,
it's very haunting for me. The image of the house sort of changes to something a bit more sort of we keep using the same word, sinister. But I'm thinking of a track like "The Cry of Mankind" by My Dying Bride. The sort of first 6-7 minutes is what consists of the song, but they repeat for atmosphere, for length of song, the very same music passage for another 5 or 6 minutes. Now, sometimes I must admit I do skip it because that is excessive. But I think 2 minutes on this one, just to sort of continue what they've built to the end of the song, works really well. And when I saw it on the list as the last one, I thought, well, I'm going to enjoy Iron Maiden, and I've enjoyed the other ones. Quarter after 3, I remember it from when we've done it before, but I thought, well, I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did, and I was pleasantly surprised because visually and musically, really, really good track. They've created something very, very good there.
Kirk, any final comments from you?
Not really. They could have, as we agree, Dave, they could have lopped a minute off this. Do you know, playing it live, though, they could easily get away with this and extended it, because you're in that moment, aren't you? And it is immersive. It is a shoegaze type texture that they're trying to bring. But yeah, I just thought, when you've not really got, I know that there is a change of scenery for the video, but when it's only a visualizer and there's not much of a budget for the video either, it's not really justified, the last minute. But yeah, I've got to say, blown away by this song. The level of musicianship, the imagination, and the willingness to experiment with different genres. And as I think we're all agreeing, they're basically just playing metal riffs on a synthesizer. It sounds great.
I have to apologize to Mike if you're watching, which I'm sure he will be, because you sent me the copy of the album on CD and I still haven't listened to it. So I'm going to have to do that and put that in the car tomorrow because this song's on it. So thank you from America for sending me that CD over. And it's been sitting there waiting for me to play it, and it's been sitting on my side. So I will do that tomorrow and listen to the whole album. But yeah, no, I thought it was a great track. I've enjoyed everything they've done off of this new one. I don't know if they're going to be playing any of this live or how they're going to do live, because I know they're not going to do any motion device stuff because it's a completely different format. But I don't know how they're going to. I mean, I'm sure they can do it, but I don't know. Maybe Mike can let us know in the comments down below. But anyway, if you enjoyed our video today, please do like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the video sometime very soon. Take care.